Number 1. Kang Yoo-jung, Secret Love. If you've watched Secret Love, then you must have felt that Hwang Jung-eum's character had a completely miserable life. Her character, Kang Yoo-jung, is a strong, positive, and energetic woman. Despite not being rich or educated, she worked hard to provide for her lover, An Do-hoon, for 7 years, as he tried to study and pass the prosecutor's exam. However, the moment her love became successful, his parents believed that Yoo-jung was inferior to their son, and asked him to break up with her. Not knowing this, even when Do-hoon caused a hit and run, Yoo-jung took the guilt for him, wanting to protect his future. And her fate has been on a downward spiral ever since. First, Yoo-jung found out that she was pregnant, and tried to appeal to the court to get her sentence reduced. However, she was framed for abuse, and had her child ripped away from her, while she herself was mercilessly beaten in jail. This is all the work of Jo Min-jok, whose lover and unborn child died in the hit-and-run accident. And believing that Yoo-jung was the criminal, he set out to ruin her life. And even with all of this, it seemed that the screenwriter thought Yoo-jung's life wasn't sad enough. Because the moment our main character was released from jail, it was revealed that her child was dead. Her lover had turned his back on her, and her father was murdered, for he learned the real culprit of the past hit-and-run. On top of that, Yoo-jung was constantly tracked down and harassed by the crazy wealthy Min-hyuk, who never ceased making Yoo-jung's life worse than death. Needless to say, this was one of the most miserable fates ever in a K-drama. Number 2. Do Hyun-soo, Flower of Evil. The main character of this crime series also has for himself a pretty shitty life. First of all, he has this creepy father who was found out to be a psychopath, believed to be a serial killer, and had a dungeon to torture his victims. As a result, everyone in the village eyes Hyun-soo with cruel eyes. They dragged him to exorcism rituals every night, determined to rid him of evilness. They pinned the growing boy to the ground, screaming and throwing stones at him. The constant abuse made Hyun-soo reluctant to show emotions, and he was wrongfully diagnosed with an antisocial disorder. His doctor said that the child lacks empathy and the ability to feel emotions, labeling him as a sociopath like his father. After the father's demise, the village head spread evil rumors about the boy, and eventually stole all of Hyun-soo's inheritance. The guy also tried to assault Hyun-soo's sister, who killed him in self-defense. He took the blame for her, painting himself as being even more evil than before. The moment Hyun-soo comforted his sister had shown that he had accepted the label of being emotionless, saying blankly, "It's okay because I don't know how it feels." Now the prime suspect to murder himself, our main character decided to run away from the village, and got hit by a car, as if he had not suffered enough already. Years later, we saw that Hyun-soo had become a new man. Literally. He got married, had a beautiful daughter and wife, but still practiced how to smile in front of the mirror every day. But the meager happiness did not last long, and soon, his past slowly started to be unraveled. It was frankly pretty shitty to be suspected as a serial killer, bullied, and misunderstood. Even worse when you were capable of feeling emotions, only to lose that ability just because people around you said that you can't. And to top it all off, our male lead also got himself into amnesia, though perhaps that's a blessing considering how shitty his life had been. Number 3. Lee Ji-an, My Mister. Prepare for tissues, because while Lee Ji-an of My Mister was not accused of murder, nor got her child ripped away, she represented the endless struggle of being dirt poor. Despite only being in her early 20s, she looked much older, with her tired eye bags, pale complexion, bruises, and old raggy clothes. When the girl expressed that she's as tired as if she'd lived 500 lives, 60 years each, for a total of 3,000 years, her mister even gently corrected her that she's more than 30,000 years old. And from that number alone, we can already garner how bad her life is. Since childhood, Ji-an has had to bear the gambling debt of her late mother. She was regularly beaten and abused by her loan shark to the point of killing him, and has had a criminal record since high school. But her debt still doesn't go away. The loan shark's son succeeded his father, and continued to torment Ji-an's life. Ji-an works seasonally at a construction company, earning 1.1 million won to pay off the monthly interest of the debts. She also works part-time at a diner, where she eats leftovers and brings them home for future meals. But even this source of food was cut off when she was exposed and fired. All for eating food others can't bother with. Jian is always wearing the same clothes and the same pair of raggy shoes. And every scrap of money was saved for the debt, and yet it's never enough. The only light of Jian's life is her deaf grandmother. And since Jian didn't have the money for her grandma's nursing home, she had to sneak into her home. An action we constantly see our female lead doing is running. Running to catch the last train, to get her grandma out, away from the bad guys who want to harm her, and of course, away from the terrible fate she suffered. The sorrow in Jian's eyes seemed all the more real when we learned that actress IU also grew up poor with her grandmother. This makes the portrayals all the more moving, as it was born from IU's real emotions. Number 4. Lee Dong-sik, Beyond Evil. While Dong-sik's fate is not necessarily bad, we have to admit the mental torture this character endured was pretty much insane. In the first episode, we saw Lee Dong-sik as a bright and mischievous man. He's all smiles and playful with his little sister, who's always considered superior to her brother. And yet, flash forward 20 years later, and we have a middle-aged police officer, scarred by his past, and losing all the life in his eyes. 20 years ago, there was a serial murder case that took the lives of 2 girls, one of which is Dong-sik's own sister, who just disappeared, leaving behind no trace except her 10 bloody fingertips. Seeing this, Dong-sik's parents basically went insane, and things got worse when Dong-sik himself was suspected as the killer. Despite having an alibi and eventually being released, many people still believe that he's cruel enough to murder his own twin. For 20 years, Dong-sik has been in constant search of his sister. He's worn out, tired, and always acts in guilt. The pain in his eyes is constantly present, making us question his sanity. But the mystery of Dong-sik's life didn't stop then. Min-jung, the girl next door, who Dong-sik loved like a daughter, also disappeared, once again leaving 10 fingertips. And when the crime is finally solved, Dong-sik still couldn't find peace, for he discovered that his own sister had been with him the entire time. The scene where he confided in police chief Nam Sang-bae made viewers burst into tears at the cruel fate this character had to endure. Now, it's pretty clear that even with Dong-sik's name completely cleared in the end, this character had suffered a terrible trauma. Losing his entire family and blaming himself all those years had been a scar he could never erase. And of course, we have actor Shin Ha-kyun to thank for bringing to us the extremely convincing Dong-sik. His wild smile and darkened eyes had seriously given the audience chills. And last but not least, the male lead Cha Moo-hyuk of I'm Sorry, I Love You also deserves to be listed as a main character with the shittiest life. He's abandoned by his parents, adopted by an abusive couple, and thus had to roam the streets and cheated tourists for a living. He still tried to keep his morals though, as shown by the character returning the possessions of the female lead when he saw her struggling. But Moo-hyuk's suffering did not end there. When he attended the wedding of his ex-lover, he was shot twice in the head. Doctors managed to save him, but could only remove 1 bullet. This means that Moo-hyuk will die slowly with a bullet in his head, tormented from terrible pains as his mind slowly gets more muddled. As his dying wish, our main character set out to find his true family. He learned that his mother is a famous actress who is adored and loved by the public, and has since had another perfect son. He also discovered that his mother did not abandon him of free will, and instead believed that her son was dead at birth. And of course, our male lead could not bring himself to ruin his mother's world. When her son Yoon was injured in an accident and needed a heart transplant, Moo-hyuk made up his mind. He killed himself to give his heart to his brother, telling his love, I'm sorry, I love you, before turning to dust. It seems that no matter how miserable his life is, our main character just had to be selfless till the very end. And that's the list. All of these characters suffer from pretty shitty fates. But there are actually many, many more. Do you know any other K-drama characters whose life was basically worse than death? Feel free to let us know in the comment section. And if you want more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe to bbalidrama. We'll come back soon. See ya!